everyone. Hello. Do you like my outfit? If you do, let me know. Anyway, that's my outfit. This is our new hoodie and our new background. This is RWJ Couch Chat. I have with me today
Big J
and Mommy J. So we have the Jgirls and we have another edition of RWJ Couch Chat. Like I said before, we have an amazing guest today. You know, when some women carry wisdom, we need to carry it carefully because she's going to pour out some wealth of wisdom today. Are you ready? Let's bring in our guest this afternoon, and she's going to introduce herself. Good afternoon.
Hello.
Good afternoon. It's so amazing to be here with you ladies today.
Thank you. Please, can you tell us your name?
Oh, my name is Cynthia Holden, but most people know me as the Baroness.
Oh, so we have Baroness Holden. Okay, my daughter asked me a question before we go on.
Oh, no.
She said, what do you call the Baroness? I looked at her and I said, when you see her, you ask her the question. So I'm throwing the question to you. First of all, so we break the ice. Why you call Baroness?
I'm a Baroness because I look like a Baroness. I act like a Baroness. I'm educated, exciting, evolutionary, and exquisite. So I made myself a Baroness.
I need to start calling myself a Baroness too because I'm exclusive. I'm educated. I'm beautiful. Oh my God. Thank you so much, Baroness. And girls, you should give yourself titles too, right?
Absolutely.
Amazing Jemima. Amazing Jemima. That's great. That is amazing.
He called my name.
Huh? You want to call your name?
Yeah.
You're just Little J. When will you become Big J?
No.
Anyway, so welcome Baroness Holden to the program today. And like we said, this is RWJ Couch Chat. You're welcome to this chat with us, and I'm going to know you today because the program is getting to know you. We're trying to bridge the gap between the knowledge of how we grew up as adults from the Afro-Caribbean background and raising our children in Scotland. And we know that there are a lot of children that will be interested to know how you grew up, what are the values you grew up with, and how you can transfer those values to us, the new generation. And so, Little J, you are always the one that asks the first question. Are you ready?
Tell us about yourself.
Oh, there's so much to tell. Well, I am from Florida. I was born in Miami and raised in Fort Lauderdale, a city near Miami. I have 5 sisters and a brother. My brother's the eldest. And I was raised in a family where my father was a policeman and my mother was an entrepreneur. I always feel that the thing that your parents do affect you. The things they do more than what they say will affect you. My parents were very religious, they were busy in our society. They were very much family-oriented people. But I was raised in the church. I'm gonna tell you that now. I was born, bred, and buttered. That's what we say in the South, in the Church of God in Christ. And so all my values and everything that I believe is based around religion and the family. So we grew up with the 10 Commandments. Basically, you respect your elders. You respect, people. You don't lie. You don't steal. These are basic tenets I grew up with.
So, Baroness, before we go into the nitty-gritty of the rules you grew up with, what are the things you want to know about her?
Of course.
What's your favorite food? What's your favorite music? What's your favorite movie? What's your favorite book? What's your favorite hobby? I'm asking too many questions. I should slow down. Yeah.
My favorite food, it's difficult. I love seafood. I'm a seafood baby. I love oysters. I love lobster. I love crab. I love seafood. Followed by pasta. I lived in Italy for a couple of years and I love pasta. And so any kind of love the lasagna, spaghetti, anything like that. My favorite, I read so many books. I've read so many books. It's hard to say what would be my favorite. My favorite movie. Oh, there's so many great movies out. And you know what? One movie that I like, I watch it over and over and over and over. If I'm going to say a favorite movie, probably going to shock you and say The Wizard of Oz.
I didn't help.
All right, so tell us about your family, your current family.
I am married to a very nice, I've been married for about 18 years. We have two daughters, one who's 18 and one who is 14. Our daughter who is 18 just graduated and she's going off to university to study. I'm going to get it again. It's bio. It is something to do with biology. I can't remember at this moment. And my youngest daughter who's 14 wants to be a surgeon. She wants to be a plastic surgeon. So I have been here for and I love Scott, love living here. I did go to school. I have my bachelor's degree from the University of South Florida in Tampa, but I also have a degree from the University of Foreigners in Perugia, Italy. While I've lost a lot of it, I still speak Italian. I think it's important to...
That's why you like pasta. I see. Let's ask her the next question. Okay. Big J, are you ready to fire the next question?
Yes. What are the house rules you grew up with?
Okay, so the rules were based around our values. So no lying, and you know, as a kid, that was a hard one. That's a hard one as a kid because kids tend to create their own version of the truth, don't they? But to me, that's the best way to say lying. You create your own version of the truth. No fighting. No fighting. My sisters and I was probably the naughty one. I was the naughty one in the group in my family. So we got into a lot of trouble, or I did. So, but we weren't allowed to fight. We did, but we weren't supposed to fight. To call names. We had to clean up. We had to go to church. That was very, very important. Going to church, cleaning up after yourself. You know what? Doing your chores, doing the things that are right. In school was very important. We never missed school because my parents were disciplinarian. And like I tell my kids, you know what? I didn't do a lot of things because I get hit in the mouth. I'm going to be honest with you. You know, that was 40 years ago. And if I was disrespectful, I would lose a tooth. So I wasn't trying to be disrespectful. You know, those things are different now, and we don't do those things. But back then, our parents were allowed to chastise us and discipline us. And you know what? We're most of us respectful older people. Young people sometimes have a problem with respect, I think. Yeah,
I think I would agree with you perfectly on that because that's one of the things I've noticed, not just beyond, because at least I believe that African descent, they still try to instill a lot of this in their kids. But when you look at the general public, kids don't even meet. They just talk to you anyhow. And you're like, excuse me, who are you? But I think, we've lost the concept of respect. And to be honest, all the guests that have come up on this program have always mentioned respect as the first rule. So the thing is, I just wish that as the kids are listening, they'll begin to understand that it's so important to us that respect should be brought back as the foundation of a society. Honestly, if we have it as the foundation of a society, some of the things that are happening, we won't even hear of it. Because if you respect me and respect my opinion, you would always not want to shut me down because I have another opinion, you know? Yeah. If you respect me, respect my color, you would give me what belongs to me, what I'm entitled to. You know, those are the principal things that have been lost in the society. And I hope with this little program, we'll be able to get people out there to bring back the salt on the table, the salt that is missing, respect. All right. Thank you so much for that. And Baroness, so now we've talked about the rules and the Christian upbringing and respect, no fighting, no lying, and all the other rules of school school, hard work, cleaning up your house. How did it influence you as an adult?
It's about how I carry myself, my belief in myself, and my name. My mother always taught us that your name goes before you. Having a good, if you're known as a person you're known as a person who keeps their word. I teach that to my children. You're who you are. That's power. When you say you're going to do something, do it. Not for anyone else, but for yourself, because that's your word. So my mother always taught me that your name goes before you. So you're be a woman of your word. And I teach my daughters that. Be a woman of your word. That's the difference between a girl and a woman. Follow through. If you say you're going to do something, do it. If I tell you that the moon's going to turn into cheese, and you better believe it's going to turn into cheese, because my word, my name means something. It means something to me and something to others. So your name means something to you. If you want your name to equate with or thief or somebody was a weak or someone here mean, that's great. But if you want your name to someone who's trustworthy and strong and honest and faithful and a good friend, those things you have to work at. Your name must mean something to you.
If I can just summarize what you said, as an adult, you have penciled everything you were taught as a child into keeping your name and reflecting your name, because everything you display is your name. So if you display yourself as a liar, that's your name. If you display yourself as a thief, that's your name. If you display yourself as a lazy person that doesn't like school, that's your name.
Your actions say who you are more than your words. Actions say who you are, the things that you do. So if you tell, I'm going to go wash dishes, and then you don't, actions prove you to be a liar more than your words.
Thank you. And I think this is the same thing I tell the girls, and I believe kids at home. The adults around you would have been saying the same thing. Your actions determine who you are. And so I'm going to digress a little bit and speak to those that say we should focus on skin color. We should focus on actions, because my action determines who I am. If my actions is right, treat me well. If my actions is full of integrity, accept me just the way I am, not because I'm different, not because I have a kinky hair, not because I'm short or big nose or plumpy. And kids, that is very important. So the rules she grew up with has influenced her actions as an adult, and which has helped her to stand with integrity. So whatever she's going, she's a woman of a word. Okay? Baroness is a woman of a word. Are you taking that away? What questions do you have further to that? Do you have any questions? Do you have any incident in your growing up or as an adult that has challenged the things you grew up with as an adult? And how did you walk through the situation and still stand up with those values?
You know what? Before I do that, I don't know if it's a poem or saying, but it goes like this. Watch your thoughts, because your thoughts become words. You heard this. Watch your words.
Yeah, I watch on actions.
Watch your actions, because your actions become your habits. Watch your habits, because your habits become your, is it personality? Or becomes your, I think it's who you are. And then watch what becomes your destiny. So basically it means the things that you think about becomes are. Things you think about become who you are. Look at what you think about all the time. And if you're not thinking of, perhaps you should change the things that you think about. The thing that I found most challenging was probably when I moved, not when I moved to Scotland, but when I moved to Italy, simply because I did not speak the language. When you don't speak the language and so important, you miss the nuances and you can have many problems communicating and living a life. I left home and I moved to Italy. I did not speak the language. I did not have any money. I did not have anywhere to go. And I did that to challenge myself. That's not for anybody else but me. I did that to challenge myself, to prove to myself that I could survive without my family. And I lived over there for 2 years. And this is after I went to university over there. I lived over there for 2 years and I made a success. I spent a few months in Greece and I learned to speak Greek. And you know what? I challenged myself and I won. And I proved to myself that I had character. And I'm going to tell you something. People will do or will not do based on their character or who they are. There were some things that I just would not do because of how I was raised, because of who I am. I kept my integrity. I was homeless and I slept on people's couch and I kept my value. So when you are truly you, when you figure out who you are, even if you write it down, this is who I am right here. You will never stray from that ever, because that's who you are. And the only one who can change that is
Thank you so much, Baroness. Girls, I'm going to summarize again what you just said, because I think I'm going to be summarizing to you so that you can hear me properly.
What you think is what you are.
What you think is what you are. Exactly. So you got that. What you think determines your destiny. Little J, what you're thinking now determines your destiny.
You're not thinking anything.
Wow, you're blank. Right. And I think I also like where she said that she challenged herself to go to a new place. And I believe that's because of the values of independency, the value of taking care of yourself in the house, cleaning your room, being independent, cooking, washing your clothes yourself. All those things that you learned as a child in Florida. When you got to Italy, you had nobody but you, and you had to bounce on those things. Yes. Big J, when mommy says vacuum the house, wash the plate, clean the house, because those things, according to the Baroness, were the things that helped her to be an independent woman. And the last thing I got, which is very important and is similar to the way I grew up, was keeping your value as a woman. It doesn't matter where she ended up. She slept on people's couches, and there were certain things, certain boundaries she would not cross. It doesn't matter if the value of the society is hopeless when it comes to certain situations. You write it out and say, I will not cross this boundary, no matter what happened. This is who I am. Even if it's from 8-year-old or 9-year-old or 5-year-old, or even from the womb, the society is lost and degraded. I have some values. After this program, just like she has told us, go and take a sheet of paper. What are my values? Write it down. Write out your values.
Who are you?
Write it.
What would you do and what would you not do?
Exactly. If you put me in the situation, what will I do? And so you can see how those parental values, how it influenced as a young adult where she was alone. Now we're going to move to the next question, because I believe immediately when you got to Scotland or when you got married and you started raising your two beautiful girls, there were things that you had to build them up with. There were values and rules and boundaries you have to put in place, or you had to put in place. Can you tell us what are these boundaries and what are these rules you had to put in place raising them up?
In our family, communication is key. Communication is everything. I have never once have I laid a hand on my girls, and it's not because they haven't been naughty, but because society today says you should not, and I don't feel the need to, because you know what I tell my girls? I don't have to hit you to chastise you, So the thing is, my girls, when they are angry, they're allowed to express themselves. If they disagree with me, they're allowed to express themselves. That's okay, as long as they're respectful. That's okay. It doesn't mean that I'm going to change my mind, but I will listen to you. So I teach my girls to communicate. That's very important. I want to hear. I don't want you to bottle up how you're feeling. I want you to tell me. I want you to say, you know what, mommy, I'm angry with you, and here's why. And I'm going to say, I understand and I respect that, but here's the deal. I don't lie to my children. I don't threaten them. I don't believe in threat. If I tell them I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it. If I say I'm going to take your phone for a week, I'm going to have your phone for a week. So you can come and apologize and cut up to me and say, I love you, mommy. And I go, I love you too, but you're not getting this phone, because I believe that you must follow through. Once again, your word. Once again, your word. So if I tell my daughters, and I don't tell them unrealistic things. I'm not getting you anything for Christmas. I don't tell them unrealistic things. I tell them things that I'm going to actually follow through on. So once again, if I tell my children that the moon is going to turn to cheese tomorrow, they're going to believe it, because mommy doesn't lie to them. Okay. So I tell them the truth. We work things through, and we communicate at all times. As long as they're respectful, they can disagree with me.
Girls, what are you taking from that?
The love is so alive.
mothers don't lie. No, Baroness don't lie.
Oh, okay.
And mommy don't lie. But that doesn't mean all mothers don't lie. Good mothers don't lie.
Good mother-
And then what else did you just get from what she said? Communication is key. And I think I like when she said, don't bottle up. Little Jane. Communication is key. So thank you so much for that. I think we received that as a from personal experience. I appreciate the communication. One of our house rules is actually to
Touch softly.
touch softly,
Walk away.
walk away.
Is that what? Oh,
Yeah,
that's
so think before you talk.
what do you think?
So you talk, but you process your thinking. You don't just say it out. You process your thinking.
Respectful when
You need to be respectful when you do it, because part of the house rule is talk. Part of the house rule is respect, responsibility. Then when you say it, and she said she will hug her daughter and say I love you, one of the house rules we have is hugs. So you also hug along the way. And the word to say, one of the house rules is word.
Yeah.
So you see, all what she's saying is part of the 12 house rules we have, but in a different format applied in another home.
One other thing I think is I teach my children is consequences. Now, for every action, this is science. For every action, there is a reaction. There is a consequence, good and bad. There are consequences for good behavior, and there are consequences for bad behavior. Even if I take my hair, brush it, the consequences is that the curl may come out of my hair. That's natural.
Yeah.
So when you do things, whether you're angry and you lash out, there's going to be a consequence for that. You have to understand. So when my children get in trouble, I wouldn't call it a punishment. I call it a consequence of your actions. Every single thing that they do, good or bad. So if they do something good, the consequence is something good that comes back to them. Whether I take them to McDonald's or I buy them something, that's a consequence of good behavior. So I teach them that every single action they make, whether bad or good, has a consequence. If they are angry, if they tell a lie, if whatever, they're going to feel a consequence for that. Excuse me. And that's going to teach them as they grow up that everything they do has a consequence, and it's important that you think about it. Think about what's going to happen when you exhibit certain behaviors. Think about it. Critical thinking. And I'm teaching them that right now. How to stop and think, what's going to happen if I do this? That's so important.
SSCK. That's one of our rules. Stop, think about it, and reflect and react. That's one of our house rules. Be kind and react kindly. You understand? And so what you're telling us is such. I think I'm very happy it's coming out from you. That's another parent, and it's just reflecting exactly the same thing I'm trying to use to raise them up. So stop. What is the consequence of getting angry? For everything you do, there will be consequences. And well, thank you so much for the house rules you're raising. And I believe your girls are going to be honorable, respectful girls with integrity and values, which their mom had transferred to them. And based on that, we would say, ask you the next question. Little Dre,
What inspires you to keep going?
what inspires you to keep going?
My family, always my family. I want to, because as for your children, and you are, they see what you do, and then they aspire to do the same. So I don't want to show my children that I give up, ever. I don't give up. I may change directions, but I don't give up. My family, my children, and myself, I just like I told you, I wanted to prove to myself that I could make it alone. I want to prove to myself that I can make it every day, that I can get up in the morning and I can make a difference in my life and other people's lives every single day.
Yes, reflection.
Don't give up.
Don't give up.
That was just one thing that make sure that you tell yourself that you can make it. Because it's childish, but you don't believe it yourself. It's just life.
So you have to tell yourself you can make it, because if you tell others and you don't believe it, you are a liar, a hypocrite, and you're deceiving yourself. Let me use all the big words. so you hear all the big words. So it's important that we keep up to who we are, and just like she said, the things that keep her going is our family. So Baroness, thank you so much for that, for the things that keep you going. Personally, I think the girls also keep me going because in spite of the things that I've experienced along the way in life, I keep telling myself every morning when I wake up, yeah, there's a reason why I'm here. My reason why I'm here is to impact the girls, to impact the children around me, to impact the world, to impact the next generation. And I think we're on the same wave to that. The things that inspire us are making an impact in other people's lives. The next question.
Tell us about your heroes.
Tell us about your hero.
My hero is my mother. My hero is a hardworking, God-fearing, educated, exceptionally fabulous, fantastic queen. My mother, she's helped. So my mother, when I grew up, my mother's an entrepreneur. She had her own child development center. So she had a big nursery. And she held as many as 140 children, I believe. 140 children in her school. And she has helped so many children. She's helped so many people, homeless people, drug addicts, people out of jail, people who have had nothing. She's buried people. She's taken her own money and buried people. She's outfitted kids for school. This is what my mother has done in the last, 50 years that she's retired now. But she's that kind of woman. She's a woman with a good name. She has a great name. And she's the first one to help. I remember growing up when we would have dinners, my mother would feed other people, neighbors she knew who didn't have food before we would eat. And so she was she is an amazing woman. She's still living. She's just retired. Amazing woman. And she's my hero. She's who I look up to, who I want to be like. And she's one of the reasons that I am so passionate about helping people and being there for people. My brother and my sister, or including my brother-in-laws and my sister-in-laws, we're all the same. All of us. We're all people who help other people.
Thank you. When you said your hero is your mom, they tickled me and said, she's not talking about you. My hero is my mom. She's late now, but she was a woman just like you described, but the difference is she was not educated, but she taught herself to read. And I think that's why I'm passionate about reading. She taught herself to read to the extent that she read from the Bible, Genesis to Revelation, all by herself.
Wow.
At some point in her life. And nobody taught her. I mean, she's exceptional. And just imagine if she had the opportunities today to go to school, what she would have made out of her life. If somebody can teach herself to read. And by the time she died at 48, if my mom is reading the Bible, you'll be wondering, what university did you go to? She was amazing. She taught herself well.
How many degrees she would have had?
Yeah, how many degrees she would have had. That's why her daughters have degrees and her children. Right. We have one more question, Baroness. And the question which rounds up our discussion with you today is, what advice do you have for the kids? We've heard so many wisdom and words of inspiration from you, and we want to just wrap that up in a nice capsule for the kids to say, this is what Baroness is telling you today. Run with it.
Well, one of the most important things, and I think it does wrap up, I tell my daughters, and my daughter, she'll tell you, I would love to bring her on and let her tell you what it is, but it is the way you think. You are in control of the way you think always. No one can enter, no one. You are always in control of, if you don't like a situation, if you don't like something that's, the only thing you have to do is change the way you feel about the thing. And you probably, or if you can't change the situation, change how you feel. Just like that in your head, you can say, you know what, I'm not angry anymore. You can say, you know what, I'm going to do. You can say, you know what, I can understand that. You have the choice at all times to change the way you think. And if you think about something, that something will always.
Thank you.
Yeah.
What do you say?
She said something about changing the way you're feeling, changing the way you're feeling about things by thinking, and changing the way you feel by thinking about, oh no, I'm not going to be sad about leaving my friends at school.
Okay, so great.
You are in charge of the way you think.
You're in charge of the way you think. Express. Thank you. Kids at home, Baroness Holden has shared her experiences, mother told us, the way she grown up, has shared how important it is to be somebody of integrity, somebody that holds on to their values as they grew up or as an adult, and somebody that appreciates the little things. Family. Baroness knows the importance of family, and that's what inspires her. Kids, we've had other adults that have discussed about the importance of family and the importance of communication. Kids at home, communication is key. It's very important. And do you have any other thing to say before we wrap up today, girls? Nothing to say. Wow, I think they are really, you saturated their brains, Baroness. they don't have anything to say. It's like, oh my God, this is too much for a day. And so kids at home, Baroness want to say thank you for coming. We hope that you join us next time on another episode of RWJ Couch Chat. We've enjoyed this discussion. We've had fun. We've challenged ourselves. So kids at home, we'll see you next time on another edition of Reading with John Couch Chat. Bye. Bye.